Service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSRHealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Hey there, and welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. This is a place of inspiration, education, and hope for a kinder, healthier, and more sustainable world. On this program, we join together in community to talk about the things that matter most to you, as well as your family, your loved ones, and our planet. Today's program is made possible because of the generous support of our show sponsor, New Roots Herbal, the makers of Acidophilus Ultra, and countless other high-quality products. As some of you know, New Roots also publishes Flourish magazine, which is a free and empowering publication. It's filled with articles about, disease prevention, healthy aging, like we're talking about today, health research, and delicious recipes for your active lifestyle. It's an awesome, awesome publication. You might want to check it out. To learn more about this publication, as well as all the other great things that New Roots Herbal does, be sure to visit their webpage at newrootsherbal.com. If you'd also like to be a sponsor for this show, contact me directly through my TheresaNicassio.com website. And that's Theresa with an H, T-H-E-R-E-S-A, Nicassio with an N like Nancy, I-C-A-S-S like Sam, I-O.com. Be sure to tune in next time when we'll be continuing with our Empowered Health series with Dr. David Miller. This is going to be a good one, guys. You're going to love, love, love it. He's going to be sharing with you everything you ever want to know, and maybe even some of the things you don't really want to know about farts, of all things. And I'm going to tell you, everybody who I've mentioned this show to is super excited about his upcoming interview. I mean, seriously, I don't think I've ever seen or heard a show that was all about farts. I mean, this is it's going to be a big issue for folks. I mean, I even know some couples in my couples work who have a hard time even sleeping in the same room when this is a very serious issue. So it can span from the physical health issues to even relationship issues, as you all know. Anyway, Dr. Davis, he's going to be taking us on a journey from the mundane, practical issues around and information around flatulence, as well as discussing some of the gut issues that are associated with it, like the microbiome, which is all over the media now, food sensitivities, and his thing is he talks a lot about the gut-brain microbiome connection. And these are all related, of course, to flatulence. Anyway, it's going to be a super fun and informative program that may, as he likes to say, clear the air, even if just a little bit, around this awkward yet really important topic. You won't want to miss this one. Then on the following show, carrying on with the series, we'll have we'll have Rich Shapiro on. He's not a doctor. He's just a regular guy, but who's spoken with a lot of doctors, as well as connected with 20 people who were 20 late-stage cancer survivors. These are folks who were told that, basically pack up your bags and contact folks. But they beat the odds, and he's going to also be sharing about the experts, because he interviewed quite a few experts and got some great info about their strategies, tips and tricks around fighting cancer in a whole variety of ways. So it's going to be another one that you're going to be wanting to watch or listen to. Anyway, for today's show, we're kicking off, it's exciting, our Empowered Health series with 5-time All-American volleyball athlete, champion competitor, and California Beach Volleyball Hall of Famer, Sharkie Zartman. Sharkie is here with us today to talk about her new #1 best-selling book, Empowered Aging. And then later on the show, Dr. Philip Rashotas is going to be joining us as well. He's a naturopath that is a consultant for New Roots Herbal. And as many of you know, Sharkie is also the host of Sharkie's Pep Talk radio right here on HealthyLife.net, which is actually how she and I met a few years ago at Steve Harrison's National Publicity Summit. It seems like so long ago. After having the privilege of being a guest on her show, you can only imagine what it's like for me today here to be able to turn the tables and invite Sharkie to share with you her wealth of cutting-edge information that she's recently learned from longevity and retirement experts. So, Sharkie, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I'm excited to be on your show, Theresa. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it's really neat how life kind of turns tables, and yeah, you're between you and Bob from Sports Talk Radio. You guys are the reason really why I'm here. I have the show in the first place, so it's such a great honor and privilege to be doing this today.
Well, we're thrilled to have you on the network.
Yeah, great, thanks. But let's get to our topic today. You know, aging, it's sort of those obvious things that we all are dealing with, but how did you decide to study it and start to write about this very important topic, Sharkie?
Well, with my background as an athlete, you know, when you are competing, never think, oh, gosh, what happens if I lose? Or you always go out and you try your best and you train for your sport. And, you know, being an athlete is hard. It's challenging. And as I, started getting older and going to my doctor and hearing, well, that's because of your age, you know, and him getting out a prescription pad, I'm sitting there going, no, this doesn't seem right to me. I really think that, you know, our attitudes about aging are really, you know, defeatist. I mean, we accept it as being a period of decline, and we're not going to be able to do what we want to do, and I think we need to change that. And so I kind of take on an athletic approach to aging, you know, step up, you know, take a look at the challenges, control what you can. And I'm so excited that, you know, with this new book, Empowered Aging, that, you know, I have a whole team of experts that actually, from their perspective and from their expertise, you know, they shared their tips on how we can age, you know, with vitality to try to keep our health and, you know, and still be vibrant at any age.
Yeah, and, you know, and we talked about taking it on, and even with another book, the Taking On Aging as a Sport, you know, this whole idea, you know, have fun getting fit, but taking on, because what you're taking on, there's the obvious, there's the health piece, but and even the emotional, you know, the internal emotional, but really you're taking on almost a societal issue because we're so youth-oriented in our culture. I know for myself how when I put out my book, Yum, and so many people say, oh, you've got to dye your hair, you know, you've got so much gray, and you know, blah blah blah, and so you're really facing it's almost like a socio-cultural political issue, but from a really positive and empowering perspective.
Right. And I think actually we're seeing a change. We're seeing, you know, some older people that are in the limelight, you know, step up and say, hey, you know, I'm this age and, you know, I'm still vibrant, I'm still active, you know, and, you know, whether it's their career or, you know, whatever they're doing. And they're going, you know, age obviously is a challenge, but these are the ways that I can, you know, keep my life together and stay empowered. And I thought, what a great word to use with aging, empowered aging, because that means we don't give up and we control what we can. And there's so much that we can't control because most of it is lifestyle. Most of aging is lifestyle. Only 10% genetics.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw that segment. You know, there was the chapter or the section that talking about the 90-10. That only 10% is, you know, is really genetic, and then the other 90% is lifestyle and choices. And I was a guest on a summit, a menopause summit a while back. This past year with actually Shirley Plant, one of our previous guests here, and I was talking about Fab After 50, right? So some of the same things you're talking about, really shifting and looking at what are some of the positive some of the positive pieces. That's just real quick. I think maybe that'd be a nice thing because that's where you start the book is that positive perspective. What do you can you share with our folks here about some of the perks that you think about when you think about getting older?
Well, I think that we're so used to finding things that are wrong, we lose the perspective that there actually are some perks. And there was actually a study that was done in San Diego a while back that actually came out with the results. And, and I was shocked when I saw this. It said people over 50 tend to be happier than the younger generation. And this was actually published in the Journal of Clinical Psychology. And I thought, this is very cool. It said that people that they compared these older people to were in their 20s, they tend to be more stressed out and depressed. And actually the happiest people, get this, were in their 90s. And they referred to this as the paradox of aging. And I think that is really, really good information to share. Don't you?
Absolutely, and that really was the big take home, I think, of when I was on Shirley's show on his that summit, because there's a lot of there's this whole qualitative piece. There's the wisdom, but even more than that, I think one element of the wisdom, and you mentioned this in your book, is how you don't sweat the small stuff, and you really have more clear perspective about what really matters in life.
Right.
And so the things, even the aches and pains, if you have those, you can transcend them when you have this emotional and even perhaps a spiritual sort of sense of meaning and purpose that and are able to contribute, and it really is a game changer.
Right. I think that a lot of times people, as they get older, they tend just to focus on their bodies and what's going on with their bodies. But the mindset, my chapter, which was the start of the chapter, is mostly about reframing. It's about getting the mind on board, because if you're just focused on your body and your mind is very negative, it's not going to work. But and you were talking about some of the perks, and there were a few more that I wanted to share. Usually we don't care about what people think about us anymore, and the number one thing that I think is important that people realize is a lot of us finally have time to follow our passion, our purpose. We've spent so much time trying to get a career, a job, our relationships, paying the bills, raising our families. As things start to slow down a little bit, if we, make that turn into our 50s, we can finally ask, what is it that I want? Getting excited about waking up in the morning to do what you want instead of what you have to do, I think, is invigorating. And so it's kind of our time to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I love that, and that idea of shifting to the what do I want versus what do I need to or have to do is actually something we can practice even before we get to that age. But I think we get better at it, and there is more opportunity when we get older. I just sort of checking in. This is with your book, you got 13 experts. How did you find these folks, or how did you come to choosing this group of people and with such a diverse perspective? I mean, everything from homeopathy to surgery. How did you?
I know, that's a wide range.
How did you do that, right?
Well, the first person, it's funny, I was at my chiropractor's office, and we were talking, and he's such a great teacher. His name's Dr. Dom Scott, and he's one of our contributors. And he was telling me everything about my spine and, all these, everyday activities that were not good for my, my neck and my lower back. And finally I said to him, I go, Dr. Dom, have you ever thought about writing a book? You're a great teacher. And he goes, I don't have the time. And I thought, well, could you write a chapter? Because I'd already written Take on Aging as a Sport, and I wanted to do more in that area. And he goes, sure, I can write a chapter. And so I thought, well, I wonder who else I can get. And so I recruited my orthopedic surgeon, Dr. William Stetson, and he said, sure. And he has all the latest, information on.
He's brilliant. My God, that chapter is so packed with information.
I know. So a lot of these people I know, Jeannie Peters, I was one of her clients with her husband at Nourishing Wellness, and she's our registered dietitian that wrote that chapter on nutrition. And then a lot of the other people that I actually have had on my show. So
that's what I was thinking. I bet she got a lot of these folks from, it's such a great way we can meet people. I love my guests, and it's, how fun to be able to give them a chance to highlight and feature some of their knowledge in such a great place.
Right. So I was surprised. I, got 13, and after, everything was done, I mean, going through the process, it was a couple of my authors, they said, you're like a coach. You're like you're coaching us.
Well, you are a coach.
Because they had deadlines, I told them, things they had to do and everything, and so it was a team effort. It wasn't just me. We were all working together, and I think the way that it turned out was really good. You could kind of see, even though the chapters were different, there were a lot of similarities in how it was laid out. We've done a couple workshops where some of the authors that live in this area have gone out and done a couple presentations, and we introduce each other, and it's so fun.
That is so great. And just, for those of you listening, we're not going to be getting into this today. I'm thinking in the future, maybe next year or something, having Sharkie come back on, talking a little bit about coaching, because she's actually written another book. It's already another #1 bestseller as well, and it's Hey Sports. Hey Sports Parents, is it?
Yeah, it's #HeySportsParents, and that's the book that I collaborated with Dr. Bob Weil, who you know.
Right. And the sports doctor here on the show.
Right.
It's so great.
We just decided it would be fun to share our expertise to help parents, because sports parenting is a whole different ball game from just regular parenting, as if that's not enough.
Yeah, exactly. So we won't be talking about that today, but like I said, I'm thinking of having Sharkie come back on, maybe with Jen Fraser, talking about coaching and sports. There's a lot of issues in the psychology and around that, but it turns out that Sharkie and I discovered, one of my dear friends I went to school with since I was in grade 3, Michelle Boyette was on the UCLA, was also on the Olympic team, and the national team at UCLA volleyball player, and Sharkie was a coach there. So, what do they talk about? The 6 degrees or 7 degrees of separation. We've got that going here.
Right. Well, I wasn't a coach there. I was actually a player, and I was.
You were a player, but didn't you also coach, or you just happened to coach some of the folks?
Well,
there?
I didn't coach at UCLA. I coached junior volleyball, and I also coached at the community college. But,
gotcha.
But I was a player also at UCLA. I was on the first national championship team, so that was an honor.
Seriously. Oh, it's awesome. So anyway, but all of this, the relevance, it's having been a professional athlete, and we're talking about the relationship with our bodies, then when we start to age and the different things associated with it, it can bring up some really unique psychological issues, and because we define ourselves very often when we're athletic by our athletic prowess. And speaking of your orthopedic guy and some of the other folks, can you talk a little bit about what that's been like for you as one of the things they talk a lot about with aging, and you mentioned, or it's mentioned in the book, is about muscle mass loss that can oftentimes accompany aging. What's that been like for you, especially as a professional athlete?
Well, I think the hardest thing for me was not being able to play my sport anymore, which I really love. I'd love to go out and be able to play it still, but my knees are very compromised by all the jumping. I think I ran out on my quota of jumps.
Well, this is volleyball,
so I've had 3 surgeries and several injections and different things, and so that was probably probably one of the hardest things for me. You know, I can deal with some of the other challenges, but not being able to do something I love was really, you know, upsetting to me. And so what I did, instead of feeling sorry for myself, and, you know, my friends would ask me if I wanted to go play, and I go, I really can't because my knees. I decided to find something else that I was passionate about, that I enjoyed, and that's one of the reasons why I got into writing, and you know, which I really do love, and you know, the coaching, obviously, and so there's always something that you can do to make a difference and do something that you love, and that's probably the little light bulb that went on in my head. If I had still be able to play volleyball, I would still be out there every day, my age if I could, and I wouldn't have done these other things.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you know, having been, I was not a high-level volleyball. I was more the, you know, high school level volleyball. But there's something about, and I did play in college, just in the intramurals for years, and graduate school. And there's something about volleyball that really is. It feeds the spirit, and there's such a sense of connection and community, and it's great to see how you've applied that. Yeah, with this book, anyway, we're going to be having to go to a break, but folks, when we come back, we're going to be getting into some of the nuts and bolts of some of this wisdom that the contributors offered that you're going to want to hear about, that some of the hot tips for really being more empowered through this aging process. So don't go away. We'll be right back after a short break.
Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal is your go-to product for great health. To maintain potency, Acidophilus Ultra is protected by a natural water-based enteric coating. This daily probiotic supports your health in so many ways. It helps boost your immune system, aids digestion and bloating, and that's just for starters. So remember the name, Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal. Get some now. To find a store near you, visit newrootsherbal.com. That's newrootsherbal.com.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit YumFoodForLiving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back. You're listening here with, today we have 5-time All-American volleyball athlete Sharkie Zartman with us, and she's talking about empowered aging, which is the title of her new book, which is, one now. It's Amazon #1 bestseller. And as we were mentioning before the break, Sharkie comes from this really unique place, having been a professional athlete, and then herself, like all of us, we have two choices, either to grow old or to not be here anymore. And so if we're going to stick around, let's make the most of it, and let's really be empowered and find the best way that we can do this with all the grace and vitality and energy and living fully through this journey. So as Sharkie was talking about, she has gotten 13 experts talking about the aging process and ways that we can reinvent. We can turn this around. We can redefine what aging is. And Sharkie, I just have to say that I know there's lots of content and things, but I'd like to start with a topic that is really common for a lot of folks, and I was really moved by Victoria's story, I guess. So Victoria talking about detecting silent heart disease, and because heart disease touches just about everyone's life here, if not directly, indirectly. Could you share a little bit about Victoria's story and some of the tips and recommendations that she shares in your book? Oh, sure. Victoria, I met her again at the National Publicity Summit, and I was blown away by her story as well. And basically what happened in 2013, her husband died suddenly of a heart attack at the age of 46 with absolutely no warning at all. And he had no health risks, no family history. He wasn't overweight, never smoked. He was physically active. I mean, he just was not the kind of person you think would even have a heart attack, nonetheless die from it. And so she was absolutely, obviously, just so upset because, they had no warning. And what she did was she went and she researched if this had happened to other people. And she found out that, yes, it does happen, but there is a simple test. It's a non-invasive test called a coronary artery calcium scan, so it's a CACS. And it's almost like a mammogram of the heart. And what it does is it actually identifies heart disease at the earliest stages. So it can be managed, treated, and monitored. And this has actually been around for over 20 years, this particular test. And, so she's trying to get the word out for people, especially people over 40, and definitely people over 50, to get the CACS test. It's not expensive. I don't think insurance covers it now, but I think she said when she was on the show that it might cost somewhere around $100. But and sometimes you can get it much cheaper than that, especially at some of these events. And so it's pretty accessible. I mean, that's usually we're talking in thousands of dollars, but this is around $100. Most people, not necessarily everyone, but most people would have access. Why don't they make this a kind of a standard test? It's so inexpensive and easy. Right. And the problem is that, a lot of doctors, don't really recommend it. And you don't need a doctor's prescription to get this test. And so who does it? Yeah, you don't. Okay, you can get who gives the test? You want. So who gives the test, Sharkie? I'm sorry, what? Where can you go to get this test? Well, you can go to her website, No More Broken Hearts. It's a California nonprofit, and it raises awareness about the test, and it will tell you exactly places where you can go depending upon where you live. And so she started the organization No More Broken Hearts, and what's interesting is about over 600,000 people die of heart disease every year in the United States. And, most of those can be prevented because a lot of these are sudden heart attacks like her husband experienced. Right, yes, it's crazy. So that stood out for me. The other thing that I was hoping you could, speak a little bit about that Gene Peters talked about in the book, which is really becoming, there's more and more research coming out about it, is the whole idea of intermittent fasting. Can you share with our listeners what that is and why that's something we're thinking about?
Well, with the intermittent fasting, it's actually, controversial right now because obviously it wouldn't be for everybody. But, most of the people, let's be honest, most of the people eat too much, right? And so with intermittent fasting, what you do is you give your body a break, okay, from nutrition, from the eating all the time. And it also helps to reset, and usually with the intermittent fasting, it's not days at a time. Most of the time, it's just like between 12 and 16 hours, something like that you don't eat. So you're not fasting for days. And so that's why they call it intermittent fasting. And what it tends to do is normalize your insulin and also normalize the hunger hormone, which is ghrelin. And it also promotes human growth hormone. So all these things are really good. And besides reducing inflammation. So what this basically is eating within an 8-hour window and fasting for 12 to 16 hours. And you can do this just by finishing your dinner early in the night and not eating your next meal till 10 a.m., okay? So, this isn't something you do every day. You do this 4 to 5 days a week and take a break on the weekends if you want. But according to Jeannie Peters, who's our registered dietitian that wrote that chapter, she says that she's had a lot of people in her practice achieve a lot of benefits in terms of losing weight, having higher energy, lowering their inflammation, because they do measure that in their practice. So, I think this is something that if somebody has not tried it, it's not dangerous, okay? Like I said, it's not for everybody, because some people have to have food, within every 3 hours. But it's something that I think is worth a try.
Yeah, so, just like everything else, when we talk about things, be sure to talk with your doctor because we are all different. We have unique bodies and systems. But, I've definitely been hearing about research around speaking of heart disease, implications for triglycerides and other things. And, in fact, I was just talking with my own doctor, and he was mentioning about this is in terms of longevity research and that this intermittent fasting is becoming quite a hot topic.
Yes, it is.
So it's basically, I think it's just good to have it on your radar, folks. And but definitely make sure you work with your healthcare professional because anything we talk about here, it may or may not be good for you. And just like all the other things I talk about, bioindividuality, whether it's in my book about what to eat or what not to eat, everybody's got different perspectives. And, there's unfortunately a lot of people who think, I've got the right diet, whether it's, paleo or vegan or whatever it is. But it's really about you and your unique needs, as well as your unique needs in terms of philosophy and living in that congruence reduces stress, which also has longevity implications.
Right.
So,
and I love the fact that you mentioned bioindividuality. And we both were at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, right?
I didn't go to that.
You didn't go to that? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they preach that a lot, and so I'm so glad that you bring that into, what you recommend for people, because you're right, we're all different.
Yeah. So it's great. So I went through the Advanced Raw Food Nutrition Education program and blah blah blah. But there's so many great places to get information. But folks, time is a flying. We still have another awesome segment with Sharkie after this next break. So don't go away. We'll be right back. And then after that segment, we will be having Dr. Phil coming on, Dr. Phil Rishotas, and so lots more good stuff coming on the show. We'll be right back.
there's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Theresa Nicassio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten-free diet at Amazon.com. Or visit yumfoodforliving.com. That's yumfoodforliving.com.
You have too little time to shop. So try Farm Fresh to You. They deliver organic food the way nature intended, delivered straight to your home or office, economically. Visit our web advertiser page and click on Farm Fresh to You now.
When you have a food allergy or dietary limitation, Dr. Theresa Nicassio knows it's hard to give up the foods you love, so she decided to put on her chef hat and give you affordable, personalized culinary consultations that will light up your taste buds. You'll explore substitute ingredients so you can enjoy your favorite foods again. She'll even help you make food preparation easy and guide you on your path to healthy living. And to get started, all you have to do is call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
If you're not in the U.S., listen up. SureTrader is one of the most trusted and reliable names in share trading. With 6-to-1 leverage and other perks, SureTrade is the best for penny stocks and day trades. To find out more, visit our advertiser page and click on the SureTrader banner.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of Yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
HealthyLife.net, the positive radio network.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. If you're just tuning in, California Beach Volleyball Hall of Famer Sharkie Zartman is with us here today. She's talking about aging and integrative ways that we can take care of ourselves as we get older, that she has put together in a book, pulling together contributions, chapters from 13 different experts on aging and retirement. We unfortunately can't talk about, Sharkie and I were just chatting during break. It would be nice if we could address everybody, and because every single one of the contributors have some real diamonds. But the book is super accessible, of course, on Amazon and all that good stuff. But for today, I thought it would be fun to be highlighting some of the things that maybe you haven't heard about or don't know about, and just so you have the education for yourself, maybe a loved one. And before the break, one of the things that Sharkie mentioned earlier in today's show was about joints and joint health. And Sharkie's had 3 surgeries, but also had injections. And Sharkie, can you talk a little bit about this? Because this is something that, again, just got more on my radar within the past month or so, about some of these particular injections, hyaluronic acid injections and stem cell therapy, as well as a platelet-rich plasma. Can you talk a little bit about the injections and what they are, and maybe even a little bit about what your experience of them has been?
Well, what I'm trying to do is delay a knee replacement. I think probably at some point I'm going to need one, but I would like to wait until I can't walk to do that. And so I have been working with my doctor, who actually also was one of our authors. His name's Dr. William Stetson, and he's an orthopedic surgeon. And we've been trying to put together some things just to help keep me healthy and going. And one of the things that I have tried, in fact, I just had my 3rd series of hyaluronic acid injections just about 4 days ago. And it's interesting. You have to have three series. Usually you get 1 a week. And what it is, it's to try to plump up, the cartilage area in your joints, because I'm bone on bone, and my right knee especially. And so with these injections, it tries to hold the cartilage cells in place, and tries to keep the joints from, the bones actually hitting each other. And my experience with this is, I hate shots. You bring a needle in, and I just kind of go, oh my gosh, but I wanted to try these. And from my experience, when Dr. Stetson does these on me, he just numbs the area, and then he drains the capsule, and then he puts the fluid inside the joint. And I just had my third one, and my knees are starting to feel less painful, and I have better range of motion. I've also had the amniotic stem cells. I had those about 5 months ago. And
what was that like for you?
That was kind of the same process, only you just get those once. And so it's basically the same needle going into the same area. And for me, I was disappointed because everything that I heard, I thought, oh, this is going to work. But stem cells are basically the blank cells, okay, that supposedly can become whatever part of the body is necessary. In this case, cartilage cells. I think those poor stem cells went into my knee and went, oh my God, we got to get out of here. This place is like a war zone. And my knee swelled really bad. And when the swelling went down, they felt a little better. But actually, the hyaluronic acid or the Synvisc is working better for me right now. And again, everybody's different. Dr. Stetson said that if, for some reason these are not going to work, we will probably try the PRP, the platelet-rich plasma. And so that's mixing up your blood, your own blood, and spinning it around and mixing it with stem cells or whatever else they want to do. Supposedly the body accepts it easier. And so anyway, I tried a lot of things, and it's so cool because Dr. Stetson explains all these things in the book and how they work. He also talks about nutraceuticals and vitamins. MSM is something that has a lot of collagen that if you add it to your diet, it can help with the arthritis and the pain. And so this chapter is awesome, and I highly recommend the book, especially for this chapter if you have any problems with arthritis in any joint, especially the knees.
Yeah, it's there's just so many interesting pieces. So, with the MSM, some people talk about that being really, really key. But, this whole hyaluronic acid bit, a lot of you listening probably have seen that a lot of beauty products use it. It's the whole idea of the fluid. Our body is mostly water, but most of us don't have. Most of us are going around with a little bit of dehydration, even if we don't realize it. But as a lot of you know, I've studied a lot of osteopathic modalities and particularly around visceral manipulation. When you look at the slide and glide that's supposed to be happening, in the joints, but even between your organ systems, there's the vitality of the fluidity in our skin helps it to keep from getting so brittle and flaky. So the implications, and they recently, quote unquote, discovered the interstitium, which is this it's like the serous, this liquid layer that goes around all of our organs. This is really important stuff. So I think it's really great to think about this and look more and have on your radar about this hyaluronic acid. You might talk with your doctor about that. Some people take it orally. Some people have it in their skin, put it on their skin, and so forth. So it's a hot item as well as diet, like you're talking about, and the nutraceuticals. So many exciting things. Really quick, I know we don't have a whole lot more time here, Sharkie, but what if you were to say that there's 2 or 3 of your favorite brain health tips? It's really quick. You have one favorite brain health tip.
Okay, one favorite thing, which is surprising, believe it or not, is high interval training for the brain in terms of physical activity, going fast, slow. That supposedly will actually rejuvenate brain cells. It's called neurogenesis. I was blown away when I found that out, and we have a whole chapter on that.
Fantastic. Well, guys, we are going to be needing to transition. Thank you, Sharkie, for being on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome.
This was a delight. So stick around, guys. We're going to be around still talking about empowered aging, but we're going to have our next guest, Dr. Philip Rashotas. He's going to be with us. He's a naturopath when we return, talking more about some of his favorite hot tips when we come back after the break. So don't go away.
Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal is your go-to product for great health. To maintain potency, Acidophilus Ultra is protected by a natural water-based enteric coating. This daily probiotic supports your health in so many ways. It helps boost your immune system, aids digestion and bloating, and that's just for starters. So remember the name, Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal. Get some now. To find a store near you, visit newrootsherbal.com. That's newrootsherbal.com.
Audiobooks gives you instant access to over 50,000 of the best sellers and hottest book titles in romance, mystery, fiction, and many other genres. Just visit HealthyLife.net's advertiser page and click on Audiobooks to get started.
YumFoodForLiving.com is the place to get easy allergy-free recipes, all free of sugar, gluten, and dairy. But that's not all you'll get when you visit YumFoodForLiving.com. You'll get resources for all kinds of things like wellness articles, videos, podcasts, a blog, all to help you create easy, healthy living. There's even a 50-page downloadable book introducing you to the philosophy of Yum. Don't wait. Visit YumFoodForLiving.com. YumFoodForLiving.com. That's YumFoodForLiving.com.
If you like to spend your television viewing time learning about some of the things that you may have missed in history class, or if history was your favorite subject, then you should check out the link to the History Channel on the HealthyLife.net advertiser page. Order DVD sets by series or by subject matter right from our homepage while you still enjoy your favorite HealthyLife.net show.
Being inspired by a speaker while learning everyday positive information that you can use to help your life is exactly what Dr. Theresa Nicassio does when she speaks in front of your group. From healthcare professionals to special needs parenting and everything in between, Dr. Theresa Nicassio can customize topics for your group on everything from health to psychology. To book Dr. Theresa Nicassio as a speaker for your group, visit YumFoodForLiving.com or call 604-445-6463. That's 604-445-6463.
You're listening to HealthyLife.net, the radio network that brings positive talk with positive change to make your world a little better.
Welcome back to the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. For those of you who are just joining us, on today's show, we are talking about ways to stay healthy into our midlife and golden years. We've had Sharkie Zartman on the show talking about her book, Empowered Aging, and now we have naturopath, Dr. Philip Rashotas. He's from Ontario, Canada, and he's also a consultant for New Roots Herbal, our show sponsor. Philip, thanks for joining us, and you know, can you just give a little snippet about the other things that you do, because you're also a professor as well. Just speak briefly about what you're doing.
Theresa, thank you for having me. It's a real treat to be on. My wife and I do practice in a little town called Bolton, suburb of Toronto, and I teach second-year nutrition at the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, and I'm really excited to give your listeners what we hope is some useful info today.
Fantastic. And, you know, there's so many things, guys, we could talk about, but there's a couple, again, of unique things that I like to feature that you haven't necessarily heard about. And one of the things when I was talking with Phil about being on the show that I hadn't heard of that was really interesting was about creatine, which is mentioned in Sharkie's book, but some of the specifics that Phil and I were talking about, I don't remember specifically in the book. So can you talk a little bit about what some of the research around this low-dose creatine and what you're doing?
Sure. We need to take about a half a step back, and it's the recognition that the elderly in North America really are an epidemic of nutrient deficiency. And there's several reasons this occurs. In brief, number one, as we age, our metabolism slows down, and to cope with that, generally as we age, we eat less food. So right off the bat, you're getting less nutrition because you eat less. Number two, as you age, your your taste changes and you crave saltier and fattier food, and as you crave those things, nutrient quality of the food declines. And number 3 is this magical little cell that lines our small intestine, and it's responsible for most digestion and absorption, and as we age, that atrophies. So you're eating less, you're eating poorer quality food, and you absorb less of what you eat. And you put those 3 things together, and we end up with an epidemic of deficiency. So we love the idea of multivitamins for the elderly. Whey protein is magic, and very high on that list, as you said, is creatine. The data that really got us excited about using creatine in the elderly, and I think everyone can relate to this, if we take one of your limbs and we put it in a cast, and then we take the cast off 12 weeks later, what happens to the limb? And it looks like a shriveled up raisin. So people did studies where they gave low-dose creatine to people whose limb is in a cast, and when they take the cast off, the limb is the same size. And since then, we've realized there's a hormone-like signal being provided by creatine to preserve muscle mass. The dosing instruction on the product is way off. It's way higher than needs to be done. The product usually comes with a 5-gram scoop. We ask people to take a half a scoop a day, about 2.5 grams a day, and you get this very profound impact on sparing muscle mass. So the phenomena of sarcopenia as we age, which is loss of muscle mass as we age, we really want to slow, prevent, or reverse that, and creatine is a very key ingredient in achieving that outcome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's a really important point you mentioned about the dosing. You don't have to necessarily, lose your pocketbook due to the marketing, and so working with a healthcare professional like Philip or someone else who has the knowledge base about proper dosing can be really helpful. Because you were mentioning that, it's just now as you're talking about that typically it's just way too much that is recommended.
Yeah, truly. And then just simple whey protein. One of my favorite studies on whey protein took people over the age of 75 and put them on a weight training program. So obviously the weights were light, and it was 15 minutes a day of exercise. If you didn't take whey protein, you certainly gained muscle mass. If you took whey protein while you did those exercises, the amount of muscle mass you gained was doubled. Wow. Just simple whey protein, providing the elderly with the basics of nutrition goes such a long way.
Mm-hmm. So if someone is sensitive, as you know, a lot of people have food sensitivities. If someone can't take whey protein, is there another alternative that they could take if they're allergic to dairy products?
Absolutely. Any protein is going to provide essentially the identical benefit as far as muscle mass is concerned. We prefer the whey protein. There's an added advantage of whey in that it's really helpful for immune function. So any protein is going to deliver this muscle benefit we're talking about, but if the individual can tolerate the whey, we prefer they take the whey because there's also this added advantage of, again, benefit to immune function.
Good to know. So one of your special areas of interest is around mental health and brain health. Can you just speak a little bit about mental health, brain health with the aging and some hot tips around that?
It certainly becomes an issue, and when we talk about aging, I'm sure there's people that are in their 40s interested in this discussion, but in our little world of outpatient naturopathic practice, we're usually talking about individuals into their 70s and 80s, and mental health starts being a major obstacle. There's issues that arise with members of the family. There's often health issues with loved ones, and these can be difficult waters to navigate. So there's many strategies we could roll out. That could be the topic of an hour show unto itself, but really briefly, and it directly relates to, I would call it the fourth most important thing to give the elderly regardless, and that is that high EPA fish oil. There's 2 active ingredients in fish oil, EPA and DHA. In order to help mental health, the oil must have much more EPA than DHA, and high EPA fish oil has proven to be an incredibly important tool in the fight against mental illness. And not only does it do amazing things for depression and other common mental health concerns, it's also very valuable for things like dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So it's got these broad-ranging applications. It's very cost-effective, and some simple fish oil. My favorite study of fish oil for mood took people with major depression. Group 1 got high EPA fish oil, Group 2 got Prozac, and Group 3 got both. And the high EPA fish oil worked slightly better than the Prozac, and both together worked better than either one alone. So A, that proves it's safe to combine with common prescriptions in the world of mental health, and B, unto itself, by itself, it's a very important tool in helping mood.
Great. And one of the things that really stood out when we chatted briefly was you talked about video games. Can you mention what you told me about that?
That's back to more cognitive function, and I know I get a smile on my face whenever we mention that, right? How many of us grew up with our parents yelling at us because we played too many video games? But the way it's the concept of use it or lose it. So now we're talking about the elderly and cognitive function. And for decades, we've been recommending the elderly, hey, go play chess, or go play cribbage, or go play euchre. And those are wonderful because there's a social component to that as well. They're going to have to get together with a group of people. And B, the game, whichever one it is, engages the brain. It's the concept of neuroplasticity. Use your brain if you want to preserve it. So in this line, there's been a series of studies done where they get elderly individuals to simply play video games. And the hilarious part of it, the video game most of the studies are using is Super Mario Brothers, right? And they get them to play this game, and sure enough, cognitive function very significantly improves when we get individuals with some cognitive decline engaging their brain.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us today, sharing your pearls, Phil, and thank you to all of you who are out there who are listening today and sharing this experience with us. I hope you've enjoyed the program. Be sure to join us next time when we'll be hearing from Dr. David Miller talking about farts and how you can clear the air in your life. I want to thank, again, our sponsor, New Roots Herbal, for making this show possible, and invite you to visit my Wellness Hub at TheresaNicassio.com for a whole bunch of free wellness resources and information about a lot of our guests. I'm Theresa, and this has been the Dr. Theresa Nicassio Show. Until next time, have a great week.
Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal is your go-to product for great health. To maintain potency, Acidophilus Ultra is protected by a natural water-based enteric coating. This daily probiotic supports your health in so many ways. It helps boost your immune system, aids digestion and bloating, and that's just for starters. So remember the name, Acidophilus Ultra from New Roots Herbal. Get some now. To find a store near you, visit newrootsherbal.com. That's newrootsherbal.com. There's a book that makes it so easy to embrace a healthy, gluten-free lifestyle, even kids will like it. Filled with heartwarming stories, food as medicine health tips, easy allergy-free recipes, and creative culinary inventions, the award-winning book Yum by Dr. Theresa Nicassio is your source for all of this and more. So make gluten-free living easy, tasty, and fun. Get Yum, plant-based recipes for a gluten